Now, from David Attenborough to Greta Thunberg, there are plenty of environmental heroes around at the moment, but this lady is possibly one you've never heard of. Her name's Emily Williamson. More than 100 years ago, she led a campaign against the hunting of exotic birds and went on to found the RSPB, the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, yet her story is relatively unknown. So now it's hoped that a statue of Emily at her former home in Manchester's Fletcher Moss Park will change that, as Phil Cunliffe explains.
In the garden of the house she once lived at, 4 bronze sculptures of Emily Williamson are revealed for the first time. One of these artists will win the chance to turn their work into a full-size statue. It's all part of a campaign to get Emily more recognition for her conservation work.
Emily's motivation was all about saving birds. She wasn't allowed into the British Ornithologists Union because it was all men, and so she wanted to set something up where women could really play their part in trying to save the birds from extinction.
It's believed that 61 species were at risk of extinction from the plumage trade, the bird's feathers used by Victorians as fashion accessories in hats. The trade was known as millinery.
Emily Williamson's concern started with an English species. It was the crested grebe, and it was a milliner's favourite, and she was appalled by this. She asked the all-male British Ornithologists Union if they'd take a stand, and they replied and said, we don't want to get involved with this anti-fashion campaign. We're men of science. And out of anger, she founded her own all-women Society for the Protection of Birds, which, as we now know today, snowballed to become the RSPB.
The reason this is happening today is that it's exactly 100 years since the introduction of the Plumage Act, which banned the import of feathers from exotic birds, and it follows a concerted and passionate campaign by Emily Williamson and others.
So this is the Bateson family tree.
Among those watching the unveilings at Fletcher Moss today was Emily Williamson's great-great-niece. She admits to not knowing much about her ancestor.
I didn't know about Emily and her interest in birds until it was really only a couple of years ago that I found out about that. And it's extraordinary because I've built a whole career studying the biology of birds as well. So to find out that my great-great-aunt was so passionate about birds and about saving them and stopping their use in women's fashion it's an amazing story. It's a strange coincidence.
The public are now invited to vote for their favourite statue, and the winning design will become a permanent tribute to the eco-pioneer at Fletcher Moss. It's hoped that Emily's story will inspire future conservationists. Phil Cunliffe, BBC North West Tonight, Didsbury, Manchester.